White, the Switch 2 is finally real. I actually can't believe it has been 8 human years that we've waited for this thing. And the amount of leaks, the amount of specs that did fully leak across the last couple of weeks in particular, where we know the full system, the hardware specs, the motherboard, all that kind of stuff. But it's very nice to see the finished official version. What's your immediate thoughts on this?
Thank God it's here. It's been weeks of just like, come on, I want it to be over. I just want it to be here now. Not the not even just the console, but that too. But I just want the leaks and stuff to be done. But I guess it's not over because we've still got months until we find out anything like concrete about this thing.
Well, that's the thing.
The ball is rolling.
Yes, I want to throw in that part of the leaks. So we're going to dive into some specifics because that is Mario Kart 9 at the very end. There is some other Mario Kart, but we'll get to that in a bit. One part of the leaks was a C button that was included on the front fascia of the system, which is in the official version as a button, but it's blank. They haven't got the C thing on there. Part of the leaks was this new Nintendo social media crossover platform thing called Campus, which they haven't had as part of the reveal. So I guess we'll see how real that stuff is. But the C button is blanked off in the render. But as far as trailers go, I thought that was a very slick sequel trailer. As far as I've never seen a sequel piece of hardware delivered so succinctly.
Yes, beautiful trailer. Beautiful trailer, but also very subdued. Because you talk about the lack of a C button. There's a lack of really any information whatsoever, which was very, very funny and very Nintendo about it, wasn't it? It's like, Switch 2's been announced. Now wait 2.5 months for any information about what it actually is or does.
After considering we've had morsels for a good long while, and then across the last couple of weeks, it was like, it's on the Chinese black market. People buy entire systems and whatever. I quite like them being like, oh, here you go. Here's literally everything. Or here's the form factor anyway. We can confirm what it is. We can confirm the colors. The new color scheme being like a really nice blue and orange, which I quite like. Makes me think of Splatoon, but I don't think we're getting a new Splatoon just yet. And we do have a bigger screen, a bigger overall form factor. The Joy-Cons are increased, the screen size. We have an additional buttons on the back, which I guess will be more like Z triggers. They'll be next to the Z buttons. Joy-Cons are now magnetic, but they do have a clip in the middle as well, so they're not going to be just sliding on. And then additional...
Thank goodness.
I know, that's the thing. That was one of the biggest things that dogged the original Switch, was just how unwieldy that stuff was. And like I mentioned, the C button thing being blank for now, but that's probably just to get people talking because from Nintendo's eyes, nobody knows everything. Nobody knows anything. They need to wait and roll it out. But any additional thoughts on the form factor stuff?
Yeah, it's very nice. There's also the button on the top of the Joy-Cons as well. Themselves, because they now apparently go sideways, which I think relates to leaks you said about to me earlier about it.
Apparently it's like a mouse controller,
which is very much implied by a part of the controller. I am excited. I feel like a lot of my takes from this are going to come off as just like, what's up with this? And that's one of them. Like, what is up with the mouse thing, right?
I don't know how you would use that, but I like the idea of them branching into that stuff.
Is the Joy-Cons now like, yeah, they're fixed, they're magnetic, it's great, but now you scrape them along the table and wear them down to nothing, do you? Like, I'm not quite sure about, again, open-minded, sort of looking forward to seeing how they explain that kind of thing. It looks very sleek. I am very intrigued by the fact that the color scheme is kind of muted, like the blue and the orange is within the thumbsticks and on the sides of the Joy-Con and not a lot else. Do you remember with the original Switch they had two versions, which was the one with the red and the blue Joy-Con and the one with just grey Joy-Cons, which I don't think sold nearly as well because people wanted the bright and colourful one and the one to easily differentiate which is which Joy-Con. It's really interesting for them to go back to this sort of more muted colour scheme, but...
I, for the longest time, thought of the original color scheme as being like Mario and Zelda's new tunic, or Link's new tunic, being like the red of Mario, the blue tunic and stuff. So I don't know what the blue and orange could symbolize.
The orange is Samus. It's got to be 100%. I have no idea what the blue is, but the orange. If this theory of yours holds any water, which it absolutely doesn't, Samus is the orange bit.
I am as valid as everybody else right now. The mouse thing is interesting, either in regards to the campus stuff, the social media stuff, or that other... Did you see that weird, massive online tech demo they put out where it was all these different Miis and some people had like Spider-Man web-swinging powers and everything else, and they were building this giant interconnected planet for like... It was like the return of Miiverse or whatever.
I don't remember that at all.
There was a whole thing where Nintendo were like, oh, you can sign up and you can take part and see what this new thing is, but don't tell anybody. So obviously everybody immediately told people, and it got out online. But I wonder if part of that is, mouse clicks and navigating deeper menus and talking to people kind of thing, like typing stuff out or whatever. But yeah, it's more of a tease, I guess, if you look at the official renders as to how that comes across mouse-wise. But that was one of the leaked features. But yeah.
Nintendo continue to live in a universe where the internet doesn't exist, don't they? Where they just think leaks don't happen and people won't talk to people about other things, and online gaming is not really a major concern. Although I suppose somewhat related to that, it's very nice to have the confirmation at the end that physical and digital Switch games are all coming, well, all with an asterisk coming across, which makes me wonder if they know what those exclusions are, if it's just to sort of cover themselves in case there is anything. Are there any features of the original Switch that wouldn't come across? Because I'm pretty sure we're getting the NFC amiibo scanning. It looked like that had the same space. The only other thing I can think of that the Switch has that maybe won't come across is HD Rumble might be different,
possibly
work differently. If there's any game that heavily relies on that, like 1-2 Switch, maybe they wouldn't port something
There's
like
the
that.
IR sensor, but I mean, like, there's only 3 games that use that thing anyway.
Right. Well, still, but that counts as games that wouldn't transfer over. Because when consoles do this kind of thing, it makes me think of how the Xbox used to have pressure-sensitive thumbsticks, and then they got rid of it. So there's a bunch of like original Xbox games that don't function on the 360. It's stuff like that where you're kind of covering yourself for minimal damages. So, like, there's very few people that are going to be like, hey, these 3 games don't work, but they probably have to say it.
Yeah, I think it's also for third-party stuff because they haven't got it in this official trailer yet. But a big part of the Switch too is going to be DLSS, like the software-based upscaling stuff, where you can play any old game and it'll just upscale it, better frame rates, better resolutions, all this automatic upscaling stuff, which should improve everyone's Switch library. But I bet that doesn't work with every single thing on the Switch, especially considering the amount of random shovelware type stuff that's on the eShop.
Say what it is.
So if it's Taco Jump 3, I doubt that's going to work very well. But you never know. But speaking of games, they do end on a very nice little teaser for Mario Kart 9, which at least, internet sleuths, people are already diving on this. The idea that if you look at the starting line, there are 24 spaces versus the 12 of Mario Kart 8.
I was just about to bring this up as well. We've just been studying it. There is very clearly 18 races on that field. At the very final frame of the video as it zooms out, you can count 18 or so races.
Cool. At least it's more than the 12 of MK8. And then there's also a new pickup box inside the garage at the very end as well.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's cool.
It's like a gold box or something. So either there's a new power-up or a new pickup box or whatever. We're feasting on crumbs, but that's all they're giving us. And it's nice to see just some sort of new game. At least they're leading the charge with it.
It's nice for them to tease. It's not just, here's a bit of footage of Mario Kart that could be any Mario Kart. Like at first, maybe you could be persuaded into saying this is Mario Kart 8, but if you look at it, they've left, these crumbs, like the number of characters and the new item box. That stuff's cool. Although we do have to wait a few months now to find out more about it.
Yeah, it's not going to be. That's another thing, is that the trailer ends by saying it's at the 2nd of April is both the release date, assumedly, of the system, and there's a Nintendo Direct, I think, penciled in for then as well. Or it'll be things leading up to that. But it seems like April is the date. That was the date that was leaked alongside the reveal trailer date of today as well. So there is all that stuff. But when it comes to Mario Kart, some of the reaction online, or the immediate reaction I saw, was, oh my god, this just looks exactly like Mario Kart 8, which in itself was is like an 11-year-old game or something. It's from the Wii U. So I personally don't care. I think it'll play really well, and I'm not there for the graphics on a Nintendo system, but thoughts on it not being a powerhouse, I guess?
I don't think so. And again, like, we've spent years and years and years and years, and we'll continue to do it, talking about Nintendo being underpowered compared to the quote-unquote competition. But the sales numbers tell you the truth, that nobody actually cares. Mario Kart 8 has sold insane amounts of copies, and it's a Wii U game originally and a Switch sort of first year launch, and it's like remained king of the system through its entire run essentially. So people don't actually care about, like, us hardcore gamers that wanted to discuss this online. That's completely fine, we should do that. But when it comes to the sales, it's not going to affect it. People are just going to be like, cool, I'm going to buy the Switch, I'm going to buy the new Mario Kart.
Well, that's the thing.
And I think when we actually play it, you'll probably notice the difference in the frame rate or the detail or just the way that it feels.
Also, Mario Kart 8, they exhausted that so much and proved that they can do an entire generation on a previously released game by just doing track packs and whatever. Like MK8 has stayed in the top 10 selling games, I think, for the entirety of the Switch's run. And to me, that's pretty perfect Mario Kart. Like, I think there was a lot of rumors that they might do like another Double Dash type thing or some sort of other gimmick or whatever, but at least what they're leading with is just Mario Kart 101, which is an easy pickup for a new system.
Predictions on whether or not there's going to be a battle pass from day one? They're definitely putting this front and center because, like you say, they can be like, well, we're going to do the same thing again. We're just going to have a whole generation where we just plug more content into it. Be interesting to see how much deeper that goes this time, knowing, ahead of time they're going to do that, surely.
Yeah, that makes me wonder if what if they just call it Mario Kart instead of Mario Kart 9 or Mario Kart something,
Mario
and then you
Kart
just
World.
yeah,
Yeah.
World, yeah, exactly, or Grand
Yeah.
Tour or something, and you just plug stuff into it. Because yeah, I forgot Mario Kart 8 had the BMW tie-in back when they did a
Yeah.
little bit of DLC. So it's like they've kind of flirted with that stuff before. But a combo
true.
of a new Switch or a new Nintendo system with a dedicated Mario Kart at launch is a hell of a combo. So for me, it's a lush reveal. I think it's kind of I don't know. It's all for me. I don't really get bummed out that things leaked early and then we get the official one and it's the same. That just means it's confirmation of a
Right.
really cool looking thing. So I'm pretty impressed by it, and I really like the increased form factor and stuff. But yeah, roll on actual console features and not just like a rendered 3D spin. Hopefully, we see some more gameplay footage and hardware details going forward.
It'd be really interesting to see if we get. We won't get any details, but I imagine between now and April there will be a Nintendo Direct because there's usually one in February for Pokemon Day, and the new Pokemon game was announced probably like a year ago, and they haven't done anything since. So I imagine we'll get some footage of that or some explanation about that game. We might even get this is it running on the Switch too, but with no information beyond the fact that it's coming to the new console or,
there's like
or what. But yeah, that'll at least tie us over a little bit to see a game running on it, maybe.
There's so because the whole thing with Amazon canceling everyone Metroid Prime 4 pre-orders was the assumption is that it's then a Switch 2 game. And I know that all the specs for the Switch 2 have leaked, like the full motherboard specs. It's not just Digital Foundry doing speculation. Like I think it was only this morning the full actual specs leaked for it. So there's a lot of people already realizing that it's like 8 or 10 times more powerful than the existing Switch and whatever. So I feel like they can get out there and be like, show you some gameplay footage and then step back and hey, by the way, it's running on Switch too, or maybe a third party will do it.
Right.
You'll see maybe the new Mafia game, something like that, something that looks really good, and then hey, by the way, it's actually on Switch as well. But for now though, it's real, it's good, it looks very delicious, and I can't wait to see a little bit more. Yeah, let us know what you think down in the comments below of these Switch 2 8 years later, and we'll catch you all very soon. Goodbye.